Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Monica Viviana. If you're new here, thank you so much for stopping by. This video, I decided to do the basics of football. With the Super Bowl right around the corner, I figured why not take the time to film something for those that don't know anything about football, that are maybe going to their first Super Bowl party or have gone to multiple Super Bowl parties, but they don't really know what's going on. They're just kind of there for the commercials and for the halftime show and just kind of a social gathering, which is totally fine. A lot of people do it and that's great. But in case you want to join the conversation, in case you want to actually know what's going on, stay tuned. So first things first, I don't presume to know everything about football, okay? So if there are errors, please definitely comment down below. Let me know what they are because I don't want to be a fool for the rest of my life. So let me know if there is any errors. But that being said, I think I have the gist of it. So I figured why not? But before we go ahead and get started, I did want to give you guys the info on the Super Bowl this year. It is going to be on February 2nd, 2020. It's going to be airing at 3:30. That's going to be Pacific Standard Time, and it's going to be held in Miami, Florida, at the Hard Rock Stadium, which is home of the Miami Dolphins. Okay, they are going to be airing the game on Fox, so if you weren't planning on watching it and now you do want to watch it, especially after this video and you understand what's going on, that's where you can catch it. Okay, for this year's halftime show, like I mentioned, it is going to be J-Lo and Shakira, which I think is going to be super fire. Obviously, I'm sure that they're going to get everybody moving and it's just going to be nothing but sexy, 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 which is going to be pretty cool to watch. I don't think I've been this excited for a halftime show in a very long time. I think the last time I was even close to being this excited was for Lady Gaga, but I think because they're, Latin and they're Hispanic, and that's just exciting to me. It's exciting. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's going to be so much fun to watch and just a lot of rhythm. Again, a lot of sexy. That should be fun. I am hoping, praying, wishing to all of the gods that somebody does make a guest appearance, and that is going to be Queen of my heart, of my home, and just somebody that I've followed my entire life, and I'm hoping that she shows up, is Gloria Estefan. Miami is her home, so I'm hoping that she will make a guest appearance. Gloria, I don't think that you will watch this ever, but if you happen to watch it and stumble across it, know that I'm really praying that you show up, okay? And that I love you so much. So yeah, I think that would be the only thing for me that would make it better. So I should preface this video by saying I don't think that I know everything there is to know about football. To be quite honest with you, I think I only know the basics, and if I had to get into the nitty-gritty of it, I'd be done because I don't know. But one of my friends from high school did take the time to teach me back then the basics, because we had to go to every football game because we were both part of the marching band. I was in color guard and he was in the band, and he took the time to teach me the basics, to kind of just give me the fundamentals of knowing what was happening on the field so I wouldn't be so lost and so it would be more enjoyable for me, and which to this day I have to say I thank him, because it's because of that I really enjoy watching football. I'm very big on sports, baseball being my number one. I'm a die-hard baseball girl. I love it. But football, I understand it, and that makes it a lot more fun. It's more enjoyable, and I can actually speak on the game a little bit. I, again, don't know everything, but I can hold my own when it comes to football, To baseball, I dominate. But, yeah, so I just want to preface that in saying I'm not a professional. I don't know everything, but I know enough to get me through the game. And I figured that's the knowledge that I want to pass on to those that have no idea what's going on. Okay, so let's start with the basics. Literally the basics, the fundamentals. So football, it's played by two different teams, obviously two teams. You have offense and defense. Offense has the ball. Your quarterback is currently on the field. Defense, you don't have the ball. You're defending your end zone. That's what that is. The game is played within 4 quarters of 15 minutes each. for a total of 1 hour. Really, that's not how long it plays. It's a lot longer than that with all of the timeouts and that we have to stop the clock basically. So 4 quarters, 15 minutes each with your halftime right in between second and third quarter. Okay, we'll start there. Next, let's talk about your scoring, how you score those points to actually make you the winner of the game. Of course, we all know touchdowns. That's what they're called, touchdowns. Not goals, not home runs, touchdowns. Okay? Touchdowns. Those are obviously going to be scored at the end zone. Remember, on the end zone, that's where they're going to be scored. Each touchdown is worth 6 points. You do have the opportunity to kick for the additional point, or you can do what they call a 2-point conversion, which means you don't actually kick, but you run the ball in, similar to what it would have looked like when you're scoring that touchdown, for example, but now that one's going to be worth 2 points. The other way that you can score points for football is going to be doing a field goal. So that is basically when you have, again, your kicker comes out and he does the field goal from anywhere on the field, but realistically, the closer you are to that end zone. And the goal posts, which are the sticks that kind of look like a U, for those of you that don't know what that is, the closer you are obviously to it, the better your chances are of actually scoring. And that, when you score, is going to be worth 3 points. Okay? Still with me? Good. Now we're going to go ahead and move on into how you actually score those points, how you even get close enough to score those points. So in order for the team to be either in field goal range, which is, like I said, we want to be as close as we can to that end zone to kick that field goal, or in order for them to score that touchdown, they obviously have to drive the ball down the field to the opposing team's end zone. The way that they do that is that they are given 4 attempts to move the ball 10 yards. If they succeed in gaining those 10 yards, they get another 4 attempts to make another 10 yards, and so on and so forth. So a lot of times when you're watching the game, you're going to hear things that are called out like 2nd and 3, for example. What that means is that it is the second attempt that the offense is doing or playing. And what they have to do is they have to gain those, they have 3 yards to go before they get to that 10-yard mark. At that point, if they do succeed, then they are given another 4 attempts to make another 10 yards. Okay? So the goal is, the objective of the offense team, or the offense, is to gain 10 yards, 10, yes, 10. And they have 4 attempts to get that. That is literally the meat and potatoes of football. 4 attempts to gain and claim 10 yards. That's the way you do it. Every 10 yards is obviously getting you closer and closer to that end zone, which is where you want to be, or within field goal range, so you can at least get 3 points. I don't know why I look up as if there's a goalpost there, but that's where you're going. So I thought it might be a little beneficial to learn some terms that you might hear when you're watching a game of football. Just some little things that might jump out at you that you may be kind of like, what does that even mean? So I just wrote on a couple of them. There's a lot of terminology when you're watching football, but I think that these are the more common ones, and the things that when you're watching the game and you hear them, you kind of know what's going on. So the first one is going to be interceptions. Interceptions means that the offensive team, so the one that has the ball, quarterback is out. I think that's the easiest way for me to explain the offense. When that quarterback throws the ball, for example, and the opposing team, the defense, happens to catch that ball, and now that team has possession of the ball, that's an interception. The throw was intercepted by the other team. It's very self-explanatory, but for those that don't know. Okay? The other one is sacks. You may hear the term sacks. What that means is essentially the quarterback is sacked. And that is because when the quarterback comes out from getting the ball. He now has the ball. He's going to throw it. Before he throws it, the defense from the opposing team takes him down. They sacked him. That's what that is. Sacks. Another one would be out of bounds. That one to me is very self-explanatory too, but really what that means is that whoever is running with the ball, or the ball is being thrown and the ball leaves the field on the sides, that means out of bounds, which means that then we have to redo that basically. Another one would be holding. Holding means that one player is holding another player from the opposing team. That is not allowed. Sometimes you see where like they'll grab the face mask. That's not allowed. Or they're like dragging them. That's not allowed. And that's holding. You can't do that. That's not okay. Since we're speaking about holding, another thing is penalties. Penalties come from infractions that are basically done during the game. Holding is, I think, one of the biggest ones. Correct me if I'm wrong for those that are more aficionados than me. But I think that holding is one of the main penalties that I've seen when I'm watching the game that stick out to me is holding. So penalty, basically what happens is that the refs will throw the flag on the field, that's another term. And that means that there's a flag on the field. Something went wrong with that play. And when they get a penalty, they essentially kind of move them back a couple of yards. So the offense doesn't want that because they're trying to go to the end zone. And if they get a penalty, they're pushed back. The defense doesn't want it because they're trying to hold that team. And if they get a penalty, they get pushed back further into their end zone, which brings that team closer to the end zone, and you don't want that either. So it depends on what side you're actually on at that moment. The penalties are not good, depending on what side you're on. Okay, so lastly, let's talk about ties. When in the postseason, so the Super Bowl is obviously the epitome of postseason for football. In the postseason, it's a little bit different than the regular season. In the regular season, you play for overtime, which is 10 minutes. The team that, scores any amount of points in that one. So again, that's going to be a touchdown or a field goal. Then they automatically win the game at that point. If neither team scores in that overtime, then the game ends in a tie. Obviously for the Super Bowl, that's not going to happen. That's not allowed, basically. So for the Super Bowl, again, we're going to do the coin toss. We now have those 10 minutes to play. Both teams will have the opportunity to be offense and score unless the first team that is offense scores a touchdown within that first possession of the ball. Then at that point, the game would be over. For the Super Bowl, let's say that nobody scores within those first 10 minutes, then we're going to essentially continue to play until a team scores because the Super Bowl can't end in a tie. So yeah, that's football for you. Alright guys, so that brings us to the end of this video. I hope that you guys were able to pick up something from it, that it was informative to those of you guys that don't already know everything that there is to know about football, that now you guys can be part of the conversation come Super Bowl Sunday, or heck, any football game that you may watch with other people, that you can actually be part of the conversation and know what's going on during the game. Make sure that you guys comment down below. Let me know who your favorite NFL team is, what your plans are for Super Bowl Sunday, and again, if this video was helpful in any way, shape, or form. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. Make sure that you guys do hit that like button, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!